about this is creating a study, building a bridge between the technical thoughts about space and space capacity and management of that, and the business out there. And once you start building that bridge, as this picture depicts, you're going to be able to see how managing key items that they kept talking about is IT as either a platform as a service or IT as a service, those types of things, and this fits into that plan or that framework as you're moving forward. And again, looking at it from a business view, if you're just looking at it from that, once you build, again, that bridge between the technical and the business standpoint, the information is going to be able to flow freely, and you're going to be able to very quickly account for the type of storage that you have out there and its uses. This looks like my old data center that I used to work at, this picture here. But the whole concept or the whole thought about this is, who's responsible for the storage within and the space capacity within your enterprise? How much storage can one storage administrator manage? How do we look at that? And it's going to depend on many factors. The type of storage, the location of the storage, the applications that are running for that storage. So it depends on all those types of things, and in looking at that, so you're going to try to figure out who's the highest priorities and manage it from the highest to the least priorities within the environment. As I mentioned before, many times within organizations, just to be able to prevent these aha moments of running out of storage, you start over-provisioning. And so you're having too much storage out there, and a lot of it's just sitting out there. But again, we don't want to be caught short. We don't want to be called because an application does not have enough storage for its job to run. And that's where we start getting into these virtualized storage technologies that we'll talk about in a minute. So you're going to look at it, is it right size for backups? The variability of the applications, do I need to right size it? Many organizations size their storage environments for this last month, from Thanksgiving through Christmas, because that's going to be the busiest time of the year, those types of things. So you need to look at all those factors. The whole key about this is being proactive. And in being proactive is looking at and defining trends out there for your storage capacity, is the space capacity out there. Don't just look at the flat files that are out there, but looking at the databases. Be able to have a consistent amount of data that you have for your complete storage infrastructure, and be able to trend that and be able to say, okay, this is where it's going. I need to be able to either reclaim more storage that's out there or be able to procure more storage. The way that you do that is by having effective reports. One of the ways that you can do your reporting is by the means of a dashboard. And the nice thing about a dashboard is it's going to be able to show you from different viewpoints how the storage may be used within the environment, and whether you have thresholds breached either by the forecasting of those reports or the trending of those reports, and be able to look at it, as in this case you're seeing that the server called Mercury has a critical warning on that, and in that critical warning be able to look at that and be able to say, okay, what's going on? Do I need to look at it, and something that I need to be cognizant of within the environment? As the storage, as you can see here, is shared by many different servers out there. So as we start to get into virtualized, just not one server that's hitting that particular disk, you're having to look at how that disk is being operated or being used within the complete environment. So you're going to be managing it from which level do you manage it from? Do you manage it from a guest, in this case, environment? Do you look at it from a host environment? Or are you going to look at it from all the different pieces. And that's, again, where this virtualized technology comes in with thin provisioning, which is going to allow you to overcommit the size, but it's going to allow you to still stay within your growth capacities out there. And that's where, again, one of the big plays that they talked about at the Gartner Data Center Conference, and you'll see this in a many different, for you to be able to make sure that you don't run into, again, these aha moments out there. There is going to be some overhead in doing these techniques, so you need to factor that in. But in many cases, it's going to be able to buy you back a considerable amount of effort with your storage administrators, in particular looking at or reducing deduplication in those types of areas out there. Key items that you want to look at is finding, this was always the key, is the dark or hidden storage. That's the storage that's sitting out there and no one knows what it's being used for. We know it's been allocated, but who's actually using it and being able to track that down. It's one of the key aspects that we used to pick on our junior SAN administrators or DASI administrators out there, and their responsibility is to go to find out all this dark or hidden storage out there that in many cases, a lot of times it was the system staff that hid that storage or put it out there just for these moments that they may need it without having to go through the normal mechanisms of acquiring storage. But you need to understand the value that that data out there and be able to possibly maybe not cross-charge them for that, but be able to show the cost for that dark and hidden storage out there. So as you're doing this, it's, again, using tools such as the trend charts and being able to use linear regression in your trending and your forecasting. And it's all about trying to get right sizing of your activities out there. Many times that you may want to have different kinds of trends on the same chart. Maybe you want to have peak and average activity or peak and average space utilization out there. So depending on what your techniques are, what you're using, but again, being able to use trending is going to be the best way to be able to see in the best practices how the space is used within the environment. As you move forward and you're moving more into the performance capacity and the response time aspects, we're able to very quickly identify if it's directly tied to that particular server, what the response time is. But as you start moving further to the right in this graph, you have more and more components and it becomes more and more complex. So you have to look at all the different areas and be able to look at the response time, look at the layout, and figuring in, as we say, the response time impacts, but also looking at the latency, which is factored in there. Look at the latency of getting the data from this particular blade out to this particular virtual machine. So those are some of the critical numbers that you need to look at, not just IOs per second that you're getting through, but also looking at the latency numbers.